You hear a lot of buzzwords in the business world, but there's one reality unfolding right now that is less of a buzzword and more of well, a slow-moving economic earthquake.
Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it.
Right. I mean, demographers call it the silver tsunami.
Right, the silver tsunami. It's huge.
We are looking at this rapidly aging population, and it is, fundamentally rewriting the rules of what makes a sustainable, recession-resistant business.
Absolutely, because every single day, thousands of people turn 65.
Yeah, and that curve is only getting steeper.
Exactly.
So if you are a smart entrepreneur or maybe a corporate professional who's finally looking to exit the rat race and build your own equity, this demographic shift is something you are likely paying very close attention to.
It really is the defining economic shift of our time. I mean,
Yeah.
because it is a demographic certainty.
Right, we know it's happening.
Exactly. We're not guessing about whether or not people are going to get older or, if some new piece of technology is going to magically disrupt the aging process. It's happening.
It is happening.
And with that aging process comes this massive, undeniable shift in consumer needs. The demand for support services is just way outpacing the infrastructure we currently have in place.
So today, our mission is to explore a very specific avenue into this market. We are taking a deep dive into the business model and the investment opportunity of the Senior Helpers franchise.
Which is such a fascinating model to look at.
It really is. We want to analyze how this specific franchise allows operators to, build substantial wealth, scale a multi-unit business, and also, and this is key, make a deeply tangible impact in their local communities.
Yeah, if we step back and look at the overarching psychology of a business buyer right now, it is a really fascinating landscape.
Oh, totally.
Because the best franchise opportunities out there, the ones that truly stand the test of time and weather economic downturns, they're the ones that solve massive, unavoidable societal needs.
Unavoidable being the operative word there.
Exactly. But the senior care sector is unique because when you are evaluating businesses, you usually experience this tug of war between the head and the heart.
Right. The head is looking at the spreadsheet.
Exactly. The head is analyzing the unit economics, the path to multi-unit scalability, the profit margins, and the overhead.
The nuts and bolts.
Right. And then the heart, on the other hand, wants a purpose-driven business. It wants something that actually matters to the community, something you can be, proud to own.
Yeah, you don't want to just sell widgets.
Right. And the senior care model is one of those rare instances where the head and the heart are perfectly aligned. You are solving a critical human crisis, but doing it through a highly scalable economic vehicle.
I think an analogy helps frame the psychological shift perfectly. Think about the travel and hospitality industry.
Okay.
A decade or so ago, there was this massive consumer shift from traditional large-scale hotels toward platforms that offered short-term home rentals.
Like a whole Airbnb boom.
Exactly. And the underlying reason was that people realized they didn't want to stay in a sterile institutional environment. They wanted the comfort, the privacy, and the familiar rhythm of a real home.
Right.
And we are seeing that exact same psychological shift play out with the aging in place movement. Seniors do not want to be institutionalized. They simply want to stay in the comfort of their own homes.
That is a highly accurate way to look at the market sentiment. Yeah. The desire to stay home is practically universal among older adults.
I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. But the actual execution of keeping someone safe at home as their health declines, that's incredibly complex.
Oh, I can imagine.
And that gap, between the universal desire and the complex execution is exactly where the business opportunity lies. You are essentially providing the operational framework to make that desire a physical reality.
Okay, so before we get into the financial blueprints and, what it actually takes to open the doors of one of these franchises, we need to understand the product itself.
Right, the actual service.
Yeah, because if you are a prospective buyer, you have to know exactly what you are delivering to the consumer. Why do families choose a branded franchise like Senior Helpers over, say, just trying to hire an independent caregiver off a local job board?
Well, it ultimately comes down to risk mitigation, trust, and a very sophisticated continuum of service.
Okay.
Keep in mind, this isn't a new startup trying to figure out the logistics of home care. Senior Helpers was founded in 2001.
Oh, wow. So they've been around a while.
Over 2 decades. You are looking at over 20 years of refinement in the industry. And the services they offer cover a very wide spectrum, which allows the franchisee to retain clients for a much longer period.
Walk me through that spectrum. Like, what does day-to-day care actually look like?
Well, on the foundational end, you have basic companion care and light housekeeping.
So just helping out around the house.
Yeah, exactly. This might involve doing the laundry, meal preparation, running to the grocery store, and appointment transportation.
Appointment transportation is huge.
It is massive. Ensuring a client safely gets to and from a doctor's appointment is a huge logistical relief for their adult children.
I can imagine. Just taking the project management aspect of elder care off the shoulders of the adult children is a massive value proposition on its own.
It really is. But, a family's needs rarely stay static. As the client ages, the services scale up to highly specialized care.
What kind of specialized care?
We are talking about dedicated support programs for Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and Parkinson's.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
Very. They also assist families with navigating VA benefits, which can be an absolute bureaucratic maze, and they provide end-of-life support care. It is a comprehensive suite that really adapts to the client.
That makes sense from a basic service level. But let me push back a little here, because if I am putting my business owner hat on, the barrier to entry for simply sending a caregiver to someone's house seems relatively low. If I am competing in a local market, how does a Senior Helpers franchisee actually differentiate themselves from, like, the 3 other home care agencies in town? Isn't it just a race to the bottom on hourly billing rates?
That is the exact question every savvy investor should be asking.
Right.
Because if you are just running a generic staffing agency, yeah, it becomes a commodity business based entirely on price. But Senior Helpers has developed proprietary technology to build a massive competitive moat.
Okay, color me intrigued. What kind of technology?
They utilize a system called the Life Profile.
The Life Profile, what exactly is that?
It is a data-driven assessment tool, and it completely shifts the dynamic of how care is delivered.
How so?
Historically, home care was largely reactive. An agency would find a pleasant caregiver who was, available on a Tuesday and send them to a client's house to keep an eye on things.
Right, just kind of babysitting.
Exactly. The Life Profile elevates this into a proactive, structured healthcare strategy.
Okay, so how does it work in practice? Walk me through what happens when a new client signs up.
Let's say you have a new client, a senior named Robert. Instead of just asking Robert's family what they think he needs, the franchise uses the Life Profile to conduct a comprehensive, data-backed evaluation of Robert's living situation.
Oh, so they really get into the weeds.
Yes, it assesses things like fall risks in specific rooms, his cognitive baseline, his medication schedule, and his daily routines.
Wow.
And then the software processes all these data points and generates a highly customized, actionable care plan designed explicitly to keep Robert safe and independent.
So it takes the guesswork out of the caregiver's hands. It gives them a specific, operational playbook for that specific house.
Exactly. And it goes further than that. This care plan is designed to engage Robert's full healthcare team, his adult children, and the caregivers. Everyone is informed and working from the exact same data.
Okay, I see the business value here. Because if you are a franchisee utilizing a proprietary data-driven assessment like that, you are no longer just a sitter service.
Right. You are a vital healthcare partner.
I would imagine that when local doctors or hospital discharge planners see that you are using a structured approach to prevent their patients from returning to the hospital, that builds immense trust.
You just hit on the most critical business metric in the care industry, right there, hospital readmissions.
Oh, really?
Yes. Hospitals are often penalized by Medicare if a patient is readmitted within 30 days of discharge. So discharge planners are desperate to recommend home care partners who can actually prove they keep patients safe.
That makes total sense.
When a franchisee can walk into a hospital and demonstrate that their Life Profile system actively reduces readmission risks through data tracking, they immediately become the preferred referral partner.
And in a local service business, being the preferred referral partner equals long-term client retention and incredibly steady recurring revenue.
Precisely. That is your brand equity in the market. When a family is in crisis navigating a complex diagnosis like Parkinson's, they aren't logging online to find the cheapest hourly rate.
No, of course not. They're terrified.
Right. They're looking for the most competent, reliable, and professional option. The franchisor's proprietary systems give you the tools to deliver that competence consistently.
All right, so the value of the service is clear. It is robust, it is defensible, and the market demand is undeniable. But let's dig into the actual numbers.
Let's do it.
Because at the end of the day, a noble service still has to make strict business sense. If I am a corporate professional listening to this, maybe, sitting in a high rise right now, looking to leap into business ownership, what is the cost of entry? How accessible is this opportunity?
The financial blueprint is highly favorable, particularly when you compare it to other popular franchise sectors. The total initial investment range to get a senior helpers franchise off the ground falls between $127,800 and $171,800.
Wait, really? For a national healthcare adjacent brand, that is actually way lower than I would have expected.
It is very accessible. To qualify for the franchise, the liquid capital requirement, meaning the unencumbered cash you need to have available, is relatively low at $55,000.
55,000.
And the franchisor looks for a total net worth of at least $200,000.
Okay, so that is definitely in the realm of possibility for a lot of corporate professionals. And what are the ongoing economics? What does the relationship with the franchisor look like once the doors are open?
It operates on a very standard franchise structure. You have a 10-year franchise agreement, which is renewable.
Got it.
There is a 5% royalty fee on your gross sales and a 1% ad royalty fee, which goes directly into national brand marketing and lead generation.
So you are paying 6% overall. What are you getting in return for those royalties beyond just the use of the Life Profile technology?
Well, you have to look at the scale of the infrastructure you're plugging into. You aren't just buying a logo and a software login. You are joining a network of approximately 370 units nationwide.
Wow, 307.
Yeah. And crucially, the franchisor has about 80 headquarters employees dedicated exclusively to supporting the franchisee system.
That is a very strong support to franchise ratio.
It really is.
That means when a local owner hits a roadblock, they aren't just, submitting a support ticket into the void. They actually have a real team to call.
Exactly. Now, if we look at why these specific investment numbers matter to an aspiring business owner, we have to look at the structural differences between business models.
Okay, lay it out for me.
Let's say you want to leave the corporate world and open a well-known fast food franchise. You are immediately looking at a massive commercial real estate lease, $1 million physical build-out, buying heavy commercial kitchen equipment, and dealing with complex supply chain logistics for perishable goods.
Oh man, the spoilage alone.
Right. The overhead and debt service are staggering before you even open your doors.
You're tied to a physical location, heavily leveraged, and just hoping foot traffic justifies the real estate costs.
Exactly. Senior Helpers, conversely, is a purely service-based franchise. Your initial investment isn't going into fryers, dining room seating, or a giant neon sign.
Right.
It is going into your operating capital, your local marketing initiatives, and building your team. This low overhead structure, combined with a service that is in incredibly high demand, creates a much faster path to potential profitability.
And I imagine that lower capital requirement is exactly what allows successful owners to scale into multi-unit expansion so quickly.
That is the strategy for many of these investors, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you prove the model in your first territory, you don't need to build another $1 million facility to expand.
You just keep going.
Right. You just acquire the adjacent territory, leverage your existing management team, and expand your marketing footprint. It is highly conducive to multi-unit growth.
But let me play devil's advocate here, because low overhead doesn't mean no challenge.
Of course not.
If I don't have to manage a massive retail storefront, my entire business is built on human capital. And it is no secret that caregiver turnover in the healthcare industry can be high.
Very true.
Walk me through a random Tuesday for a franchisee. If they aren't providing the care themselves and they aren't managing a retail floor, what are they actually doing to keep this business running smoothly?
That is the most important operational question a buyer can ask. Because you don't have a retail storefront, your entire focus shifts to two things: business development and culture building.
Okay.
On a typical Tuesday, a successful franchisee might start their morning having coffee with the director of a local assisted living facility, building a referral pipeline.
Getting out in the community.
Exactly. Then they might meet with a hospital discharge planner. They are acting as the CEO and the chief marketing officer of their local market.
So it is a heavy business-to-business networking role.
Very much so. But to your point about turnover, the second half of their day is focused entirely on culture. They are working with their internal office staff, their care managers and schedulers, to ensure caregivers feel valued. High turnover is an industry reality, but a successful franchise mitigates that by being the employer of choice in their market.
That makes sense. You have to stand out to the talent, not just the clients.
Exactly. They offer better communication, better support, and utilize the franchisor's proven recruitment and retention frameworks. You are managing the business metrics and the people, not wiping down counters or delivering the clinical care yourself.
Which brings us to the final hurdle for a lot of buyers. I think many corporate professionals hear healthcare adjacent franchise and they immediately freeze.
Yeah, all the time.
They think, I just spent 15 years in enterprise software sales or middle management in logistics. I don't have a medical background. Can I actually run a business that deals with Alzheimer's and end-of-life care?
It is a very common hesitation, but it is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what the franchisor is looking for.
What do you mean?
The franchisor is not looking for doctors or nurses to buy these units. They want business leaders.
Really? Why wouldn't they want medical professionals running the business? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Not necessarily, because the clinical and operational framework is already completely built out by the franchisor.
Ah, I see.
They provide comprehensive, intensive training. They provide the national marketing support. They provide the proprietary technology tools like the Life Profile to streamline the actual care planning.
So the heavy lifting on the clinical side is done.
Right. The protocols have been proven over 2 decades. The franchisor doesn't need you to invent a new way to care for seniors. They need you to execute a proven business playbook.
So they are looking for executive skill sets.
Exactly. They're looking for entrepreneurs who know how to build a team, motivate employees, read a profit and loss statement, manage a budget, and drive local growth.
That is fascinating.
The franchise brings the clinical science and the operational systems. The owner brings the execution, the local networking, and the leadership.
I really love this dynamic. For a burnt-out corporate executive who wants to build their own equity, this is essentially the ultimate business in a box.
It really is.
You get the autonomy of being your own boss. You control your schedule, you build your own team, and you shape the culture of your office. But you have this incredible safety net of a national brand.
A huge safety net.
Yeah, you have 370 other units across the country who are figuring out local best practices right alongside you, and a corporate team of 80 people continuously refining the technology and the marketing collateral. You aren't out on an island trying to figure out how to draft an employee handbook or design an SEO campaign from scratch.
You are in business for yourself, but never by yourself. And when you are dealing with something as important as senior care, having that established infrastructure isn't just a convenient business advantage. It is a profound responsibility to your clients.
That's a great point.
You have the tools to do it right, safely, and professionally from day one.
Okay, so let's synthesize the big takeaways from today's deep dive. We started by looking at the macro environment, the demographic certainty of an aging population that guarantees long-term market demand.
The silver tsunami.
Right. Then we looked at the unit economics, a highly accessible initial investment range of under $175,000 with surprisingly low liquid capital requirements.
That's $5,000.
Yeah. We explored the distinct advantages of a low-overhead, service-based model compared to heavy asset-dependent brick-and-mortar retail and how that enables multi-unit scaling.
And we can't forget the competitive moat.
Oh, absolutely not.
The proprietary technology, the data-driven assessments, and the proactive care planning with the Life Profile are what elevate this from a simple staffing agency into a highly trusted community healthcare partner.
Absolutely. My biggest takeaway is that this isn't just a business of matching schedules. It's a business of managing outcomes.
If I can add one final thought, it is about economic resilience. In the current economic climate, finding a business model that is both highly scalable and deeply immune to passing consumer trends is incredibly rare.
Definitely.
We see fads come and go in food concepts, in boutique fitness, in retail. But aging is not a trend. It is a certainty. This model allows an operator to build a sturdy, reliable, multi-unit enterprise on a foundation of absolute demographic necessity.
That is such a powerful point to end on. It really is a business built on certainty.